I wonder if this now further shades the conversation that Ghislaine Maxwell had with Todd Blanche before she was transferred to a Club Fed style prison where she's treated much better than the high security prison she was in before, the one that the type of people convicted of the type of crimes that she was convicted for usually stay in, the ones that are not transferred to the nicer facilities, obviously nicer being relative. Here's what Ghislaine Maxwell said to Todd Blanche. I think they were, regarding Donald Trump, I think they were friendly like people are in social settings. I don't think they were close friends, or I certainly never witnessed the president in any of, I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. Again, this is what she told Blanche in July of this year. The emails between her and Epstein from 2011 suggest something different. Seem to, at least.
Yeah, that's correct. And maybe she carefully worded that. She wasn't in the room, perhaps, when some of this was going on. But she certainly, look, she knows everything that happened. She is a very smart, shrewd woman, and she has the goods. I mean, she really does know what happened. So I think it's a little disingenuous of her to play as though she's still saying she didn't even know Epstein was, abusing young girls or young women. So her whole testimony with Blanche was really, in some ways, suspect from the very start.
I guess there are two questions here, and Ken kind of touched on this. There's one, did Donald Trump himself do anything inappropriate? Was he involved with any of the women? And we haven't, and you correct me if I'm wrong, there has not yet been a woman saying that happened to her with the president. Virginia Giuffre never said that. And then the second question is, did he know about it, though? Was he aware of what was happening on that island, on those planes, what Jeffrey Epstein was doing with Ghislaine Maxwell? And has he not been truthful about that awareness since this exploded into the public domain? Julie.
Well, look, there was one woman, in fairness, there was one woman that filed a lawsuit in 2016 claiming that when she was 13 years old that she was raped by both Trump and Epstein. That there was never any evidence presented in it, and the woman just quietly went away, disappeared, just days before the election. So we can't, but it was a court document. It was a court lawsuit that was filed. So there's been that out there in the domain, but no, there hasn't been any credible evidence presented that Trump was involved.
But what about what he knew and when?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What about what he knew about it? I mean, I guess that is a more relevant question here today.
Well, I think that what these emails are showing, if nothing else, that he was part of Epstein's world very closely. The emails indicate that he was at Epstein's home. The emails seem to indicate that, that he might even have damaging information about Trump. I mean, there's one email from the author Michael Wolff, which was written just before the election, where Wolff is sort of coaxing Epstein to tell the public what he knows because it would finish him, was the words that Wolff used. Now, Epstein was a fabulist. We know that he exaggerated a lot of things. So just because these are in these, some of this damaging information are in these emails doesn't make it true.
Let me just read that email. This is from Jeffrey Epstein again to the author Michael Wolff. This is from December 15th, 2015. So it's 11 months, 11 months before the election. He says, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in a scrum afterwards. This is about a debate. And then Michael Wolff says, if we were able to craft an answer for him, Michael Wolff said that. And then Jeffrey Epstein says this, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And then Michael Wolff responds with, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you, or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is about to be outlawed in a Trump regime. Julie, remind me exactly what was happening with Jeffrey Epstein in this moment. Was he getting renewed scrutiny? Was he about to be arrested again?
Well, this was when the lawsuits were also coming out against him and Trump. Remember, I just mentioned that woman who sort of went by the name Jane Doe and Katie Johnson. So there was this lawsuit, as I said, that was in the news at the time. So and the questions were just sort of swirling around him just because of the Access Hollywood tape and the Stormy Daniels event. So there were a lot of questions right around this time about, you know, who he was involved with and what kind of sexual, accusations were being made at the time.
Yeah, just to be fair, this is from 2015. The Access Hollywood tape didn't come out until...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, a little bit later. But yeah, there were still at the time questions about Donald Trump and his propriety. I mean, they'd been dogging him for years. So they were definitely coming up during the campaign in those early days. There was the Megyn Kelly dust up just a couple months earlier. So it was definitely out there, those questions.
Well, and also I just want to add the other one from Michael Wolff, not the one you read. There's another one that he wrote that's similar, that uses the word, it was right around this time where he uses the word, this could really finish Trump. So there's another email that wasn't part of the original 3 that were released where he is talking about this around the time of the election.
That's interesting. All right, let's bring in Tara Palmieri, author of Red Letter, the Red Letter on Substack, investigative and political journalist as well. Tara, so the president just posted this on True Social. He says the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics of viciously closing our country, while at the same time putting many at risk, and they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republicans involved should focus only on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. How worried is the White House? How worried is the president about this Epstein stuff, these emails, and what could come?
Yeah, well, we know that when he says there's nothing going on there, that there are problems. And just last night, even before all of these emails leaked out, I was hearing that House members were talking about the fact that they could not, possibly vote nay on this one once the bill was actually on the floor. So there were already Republican members starting to break ranks. And I think these emails just apply more pressure, and you can see a really desperate White House that is responding that way. I mean, the New York Times is reporting that he's calling Lauren Boebert. He's calling Nancy Mace, who is running for governor in South Carolina and would need his endorsement to clear in the primary. But he is working every angle he can to try to get them to remove their names from the discharge petition so that the bill won't come to the floor. Because once it's on the floor, it's going to be really, really hard for these members not to vote for it. And he's in a really tough spot. And I think this whole idea of flood the zone, just dump all of the emails right now, get all of the journalists, in a tizzy looking through all of it. It reeks of desperation, frankly.
What about the reaction among Donald Trump's base? They had been so loud in a demand for the Epstein files to know who knew what, to hold those accountable. And it seems like some of that died off over the summer during the shutdown. Where are they today?
Yeah, I think that they were following him. I mean, his believers tend to trust him when he says there's nothing there, it's a hoax. Where are they today? I think that there is universal support for releasing the files. If there's nothing there, then show it. There's just so much mystery around it, too. And for so long, he said that it's a cabal of elitist Democrats. So they want to see that, too. I think that there is bipartisan desire for justice in this story, despite what he says. I just think that you're not hearing it from the loudest voices online anymore on the right because they now work in his administration. They're Kash Patel, Pam Bondi.
Yeah. I wonder where do they think the threat is coming, the White House? What do they think might happen if Donald Trump is further implicated?
I think it obviously weakens his presidency. I mean, he's only got, another year until the midterm elections when he will truly be a lame duck president. But this is really damaging. The idea that the president is that closely associated with a pedophile ring. I mean, this is, you have to think the UK ambassador to the US had to step down for much less. I mean, this is really something to see how closely associated it is in all of his emails. Sorry about that.
Don't worry about it.
Someone who's trying to make it on TV. And so, this is just, I think it's political. It's kryptonite. I don't know how anyone can survive this, especially if the Epstein files reveal an even closer association. And it's a drip, 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 Katie. Like, it's the worst way to handle a story. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more there. There really is. Even Virginia Giuffre's book, she didn't even share all of it, all of the people that she was, trafficked to. It was 36 men. There's so many more. And that means that her files, her depositions, that men paid a lot of money to lawyers to try to redact their names. If those files are actually released unredacted, I mean, it will open up a whole new can of worms.